Well, how is everyone? I thought I'd come on 5 minutes early and see if everything's working. That's a first. Excellent connection. Watch that go wrong really, really quick. I can't monitor the sound because I don't know where my headphones are. So I daren't put any music on in the background because I don't know whether it's playing, if it's playing too loud. So it's just going to be my ambient tones. I thought I would, like I say, come on a bit early, come and say hello to people. We can do that. Not go crazy, do you know what I mean? Not unless we don't need to go over the top. But at least in this chat and this topic, we can say hello to one another. I've got an email to read to you guys. It's something that was sent to me. The person who sent me it has told me I can read it. I'm going to read that very soon once we are on time, because we are a bit early. So, seeing as we are early, who's in? I know it's a bit of a different crowd for this live. I know some of you are following the true crime. Some of you who follow the true crime aren't really interested in this type of topic. But what have we got? Who we got in? Hi, Harsh and chat. What should I do? Let me just move this over here, shall I? Hello, my May. If you wonder why I'm looking over here as well, it's because the laptop's over here, and they've both got the chats on them, but they run at different speeds. And this one is where the streaming software's on. So if I want to ping, like if I put that, I can do that on the screen. Hello, Harsh. Volume is a little low. Yeah, it's different. It's a different mic. Is that a bit better? I'll move it a bit closer. Let's have a look. Can I actually turn the volume up? I don't actually know if I can turn it up. It's on 100%. Can we? Let's have a look. I don't think I can turn it up. I don't think I can turn the volume up. I'll just have to speak a bit louder. So I got rid of that other mic because, like I said, we're planning on going on holiday. Well, we've got holidays booked, so we will be going on holiday. And the other setup was just too cumbersome to take everywhere. So who we got? We got Dope Soul in. I've got two bloody mice into my May. We got Dope Soul. Hello, Dope. We got Tracy. Who else we got? Modwise. Superior Dreams. Sweet. Mic sounds fine to me. Yeah, obviously it's different for lots of different people because it depends how you're listening and what your volume is on your end. The volume should be okay. Should be okay. How's the nose doing? It's that side, isn't it? Yeah, the nose is doing alright. It hasn't fallen off yet. Your sturdy strings are not straight again. That's because it's a shawl neck, so they won't be straight. But look, I can try and make them a little bit neater. But this is a shawl neck hoodie, so they sit all over the place. But yeah, so I had my nose pierced because Freya wants to get hers pierced next Sunday on her birthday. And it was, is it going to hurt? I'll get it done and I'll see what it's like, how they do it, because we didn't know whether they did it with a needle, we didn't know whether they did it with a gun, but yeah, doesn't hurt. The booger catcher. That's it. The booger catcher. Very low. Turn your volume up. It's loud this end. I can tell you that. I've got the bar that goes up on the screen, and it's going into yellow. So it should be okay. But, like I say, I move it a little bit closer to my mouth. I don't want to put it, like, in my mouth. Crazy Grammar joined members. Thank you very much, Crazy Grammar. What's the time? Because once we're on time, we will... What we got? We're about 1 minute, and I'll read this email. This is just someone's story. It doesn't go massively in depth, but just gives you an insight into kind of a true story and what can happen. But we're going to be talking about two specific topics, and that is what's going on with that screen? Signs of a narcissist. So how to really find out if who you're dealing with is a true narcissist or not, and signs of a toxic relationship. And look, some people might think, well, that's easy, but it's not for everyone. And a lot of the time it's about trying to be honest, whether the relationship that you're in is a toxic one or not. 23:45 in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. We are in Amsterdam, Meriem. We are booked to come to Amsterdam on the 26th of May? No, July? July, I think. April, May? Might be May. I don't know. I think 26th of July we're booked to go to Amsterdam. Staying in the centre of Amsterdam. There's a big hotel right by the river. Can't remember what it's called. I'd know if I heard the name. So, who we got? I'm here. You sound great. Thank you very much, Dixie. Dixie's in the house. We've got Dixie, Tracy. Sugar and Spice is here. Hi, Sugar and Spice. So, what have we got? All your gorgeous pals. Hiya, Harshman, and all your gorgeous pals. Thank you very much. But I don't even know why that's coming. That writing's coming up purple. Why is it coming up purple? I'm sure I do things and forget that I've done it. But I think we're now at that time, aren't we? We're at that time, so I can do this. So this email was sent in to me by someone. Now, they might be in the chat. They might come forward and say, look, this is my email. I sent it. I'm obviously going to omit their details, but I'm just going to read the email to you. And once I've read it, there might be some people in chat who this story resonates with them and they may want to, comment in chat. What I do have to say before we go any further is, look, this isn't a replacement for medical advice or medical help. This is purely a place for people to talk, to share what they want to share. I will share things that have happened to me and happened to those around me who have okayed me to speak about it. If anybody is toxic in chat, we will just remove them and block them. That's as simple as that. We can't police everyone's initial comments, obviously. And we do get people who just like being nasty. But for the best part, we don't really get that over here. But look, like I say, this isn't a replacement for medical help. This is just, us talking. And some of the things I speak about, I'm speaking about because I have dealt with these things myself. Now, I'm male, but I have been in toxic relationships, very toxic relationships, and, I've had to make some drastic changes in my life. And, touch wood, I'm now in a relationship that we have not said a bad word to one another in 6 years. We haven't had an argument, we have not had a falling out, nothing whatsoever, at all. But, so I'm going to read you this email. I'll just have a quick nose into chat. Why is it purple? I have no idea why it's purple, dope. I have no idea whatsoever. No toxins here, thank you. This is technically therapy, though, always therapeutic. And some people just find being able to talk and having this platform for people to listen, they do find it therapeutic. And when they hear other people talking about things that they've gone through, it resonates with them, and they know that they're not the only ones who are going through it. But I'm looking at the picture. The picture looks fine. It looks all right. Fab Laundry has made it to a live. The pup is good, Christina. The pup is good. Everyone is good. Oh, that's great house. Mr. House is very lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. Arguments are normal and not always toxic. No, arguments can be good, but I also think that if you are both good at communicating to one another, there shouldn't really be any arguments. Arguments generally stem from not really being able to say something without the other person taking it the wrong way, or things get held in and then they come out, you know. But I do agree, you can have healthy arguments, certainly. It's when they go a little bit too far. You want to have an argument about chips and you end up arguing about onions. Metaphor. Right, so this email. Hey there. I am a member and subscriber of your channel. I am a survivor of domestic abuse. My ex-husband controlled me financially, emotionally, and physically, yet I stayed. I had many a black eye, burst lips, badly bruised body, and was even electrocuted when I had water poured over me and the live wires from an electric blanket placed all over me. I was also forced into sexual acts. I eventually ran from the house in nothing more than a t-shirt to a telephone box and called police. The comment made by the police was, "What did he hit you with? A hammer?" This was back in 1992, and all he received was a £25 fixed penalty notice. I then went to check on our children, and my 2-year-old had climbed into my 1-year-old's cot, and they were huddled together in fear. That was the day I left with my children and just a plastic bag with one set of clothes each, nappies and baby bottles. I have never looked back. I have now been married to a wonderful man for 29 years, who is the dad my children always needed and deserved, and we had 3 further children together. If it can help even one of your listeners by telling my story, then that would be amazing. Happy for you to share my story if you wish to. Love your channel. Kind regards. And that is a true story. My birthday is today. Get to spend with you, Happy birthday, Dixie. Happy birthday. So we try and pin that. Look at that. There we go, look. In purple, Dixie. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Dixie. Happy birthday to you. Anyway, that story, you know, that is something that many, many people experience. And, you know, some people just don't get out of it. Some people don't get out of it. Luckily, this story had a happy ending, but for some, there isn't a happy ending because they don't get out of it. They don't know that they can get out of it. They don't know that there is support out there for them. It may be that they feel that they can't come out of the relationship because the people who perhaps tried to tell them that the relationship was not right, they don't want them to know that they were right and this person is wrong. Does that make sense? I've heard of people who have stayed in toxic relationships because they didn't want people to know that they were right when they'd been told. The stubbornness of some people. That is exactly how you handle abuse. Get out immediately and as far away as possible. Yeah, you know, if I could offer one piece of advice, it would be, well, 2 pieces of advice. And one we're going to talk about, which is going to obviously be red flags. But the one thing I will say is, look, if anybody raises a hand to you, ever, or even threatens to raise a hand to you, you walk. You walk away immediately. Avril is in chat. It was Avril's story. thank you very much, Avril, for sending me that story. You know, and like Avril says, I won't lie and say it was easy, but it was the best move I ever made. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's not going to be easy, but it's like everything in life. You know, the best things are often the hardest things. And you have to kind of think about that in terms of what's best for you, and if there's children involved, what's best for them. You know, to just use the mindset. Look, the best moves, the best things that we do, the things with the best outcome, are sometimes the hardest things, and we have to take that leap of faith. But don't stay. You just can't stay in a relationship where someone is, certainly if they have threatened violence or they have been violent. That's there's no excuse for it, and there is no coming back from it. No matter how much they apologise or say, "I'll not," it won't happen again. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, and that's it. It's game over. Done. I was nearly killed by last person I dated. That made me want to stay single for the rest of my life. I experienced what Gabby Petito did from the police. It's a story that you hear a lot, and it's disgusting. When you have your family threatened, then you are too scared to run away. It's not that easy. But a lot of narcissistic traits. Let's go through it, because what I'm going to say is, you know, if people, you know, one of the signs of a narcissism is control, and it's that learning how to manipulate and how to control and to threaten things that you love and people that you love if you don't do something is a form of narcissism, and it's control. And you need to take that control away and just walk and get out of it. And I know that people say that it's not easy. Again, it isn't easy, because it's the biggest hurdle that you will ever have to overcome in many things is yourself. It's this battle in your head of you trying to talk yourself out of doing what's right. But I think it's important. Let me just get that off the screen. I can then put the chat thing there and get that down. Not an email. What I'm going to do is just close the emails off mail and quit out of mail. That's going to keep bleeping. Notifications at the moment are terrible, by the way, on the channel. I've had a few people who have emailing me about certain cases that I've already been covering. The only thing I can say is I do 2 videos every day. So every day I'll do at least 2 videos. So if you haven't seen 2 by the end of the day, then you've probably not had a notification. But, right, so let's have a look. So what we're going to do, signs that you're dealing with a narcissist. I've got some notes up here. So superiority and entitlement. Superiority is the number one sign of a narcissist. This is different from self-confidence alone. The world of the narcissist is all about good, bad, superior, inferior, and right and wrong. There is a definite hierarchy with the narcissist at the top, which is the only place they feel safe. Narcissists have to be the best, the most right, the most competent, do everything their way, own everything, and control everyone. Interesting though, and this is a big thing, narcissists can go the other way, and they can also want to be the most wrong, or the most hurt, or the most in pain, or the most ill. So have you ever been with someone who, every time, say you say I've got a headache, and every time you say, oh, I feel ill, or I feel like I've got a headache, and you've got a partner who says, oh, I've got a headache, it's worse than your headache. Keep your eyes on that. I always look forward to your daily. Yes, can't leave my kids. What do we got? Hey, Harsh and everyone. They believe in black and white, their way or no way. I'm Harsh. People are brainwashed by the perpetrators to feel and this is what we're going to talk about, Emmy. This point exactly, because it's about understanding and seeing the red flags early on, and not ignoring them. You know, many people get into the positions that they're in by ignoring the red flags that are apparent sort of in the earlier stages. It's that gut feeling that they ignore because, you know, it might be early days in the relationship, or they've done something else that's really nice. You know, it's like that, giving someone a bunch of flowers but then doing something else in the background that makes them think, that wasn't right, but he did get me flowers. That kind of thing. Love yourself and you can love again. Sam Panther, member 5 months. Dixie, member 12 months. So let's have a look. Right, so let's just do this. Exaggerated need for attention and validation. Another core narcissist trait is the constant need for attention. Even just by following you around the house, asking you to find things, or constantly saying something to grab your attention. Thank you so much, Sam Panther. That is very kind of you. Very, very kind. Thank you. The peer character. So yeah, grab your attention. Validation for a narcissist counts only if it comes from others. Even then, it doesn't count for much. A narcissist's need for validation is like a funnel. You pour in positive, supportive words, and they just flow out the other end and are gone. I'm currently working on getting away from an abusive relationship right now. I ignored them for 10 years, and last week he put his hands on me. Now I'm trying to get the money to get away. And I hope you do get away, Lily. I rarely do. What have we got? So, like a funnel, yeah. So no matter how much you tell narcissists you love them, admire them, or approve of them, they never feel it's enough because deep down they don't believe anyone can love them. What we have to appreciate here, and this is going to be different from when we talk about toxic relationships, because narcissism is technically, it is an illness. It is a disorder. So despite all of their self-absorbed grandiosity bragging, narcissists are actually very insecure and fearful of not measuring up. They constantly try to elicit praise and approval from others to shore up their fragile egos, but no matter how much they're given, they always want more. And the downside is, let me just pin that as well. Can I actually pin that? I don't know if I can pin. I can't pin that on there. Superior dreams, but I shall put that in the video description at the end. But the downside is gaslighting at its best. But the downside is blokes are generally like that anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to find what's normal and what isn't. Because it's like, do you know how, like, the female will likely do, like, they'll do the hoovering, or they'll do, you know, vacuuming in the US, or the washing, the laundry, and this, that, and the other. And they won't go to the husband and say, I've just done the washing or the vacuuming, or I've just done the dishes, where a bloke will likely want to tell his partner everything he's done. It's like... like they want a badge, but a narcissist will do that to the extreme. So the summary of that: narcissists constantly need attention and validation. They constantly try to elicit praise and approval from others to shore up their fragile ego, but no matter how much they're given, they always want more. So that is the summary of that. Perfectionism. You can spot a narcissist through their extremely high need for everything to be perfect. They believe they should be perfect, you should be perfect, events should happen exactly as expected, and life should play out precisely as they envision it. Got about mum duties, love. Good night, Cheryl. Good night. What do we got? Um, they are excruciatingly impossible in terms of what they demand, which results in the narcissist feeling dissatisfied and miserable much of the time. Strager was gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Strager. Where are we? Where are we? Narcissists believe that everything should be perfect. This is impossible and often results in the narcissist feeling dissatisfied and miserable much of the time. Yeah, so that's the summary on that. Great need for control, which is manipulation. Manipulation and trying to grab control of everything is archetypal narcissist behavior. Since narcissists are continually disappointed with the imperfect way life unfolds, they want to do as much as possible to control it and mold it to their liking. And someone put calming the chaos. So narcissism exists on a spectrum. We all have it to some extent. When it is a personality disorder, it is used as defense and hurts the people around them. That's right. And I believe there is this what we're going through here. They reckon that if you look at these traits, someone only has to have 55% of these traits or more to be clinically diagnosed with narcissism. Since narcissists are continually disappointed with the imperfect way life unfolds, they want to do as much as possible to control and mold it to their liking. They want and demand to be in control, and their sense of entitlement makes it seem logical to them that they should be in control of everything. Narcissists always have a storyline in mind about what each character in their interaction should be saying and doing. When you don't behave as expected, they become quite upset and unsettled. They don't know what to expect next because you're off script. They demand that you say and do exactly what they have in mind so they can reach their desired conclusion. You're a character in their internal play, not a real person with your own thoughts and feelings. This is why breaking up with a narcissist can be particularly tricky. Watching with my mum, she's called Helen, and she has multiple personality disorders. She really loves your channel. Thank you very much, Alfie. Say hello to mum. Hello, mum. So the summary on that section, narcissists want and demand to be in control, and their sense of entitlement makes it seem logical to them and they should be in control of everything. But there we go, a lack of responsibility. Lack of responsibility, including blaming and deflection, is a glaring sign of a narcissist. Although narcissists want to be in control, they never want to be responsible for the results, unless, of course, everything goes exactly their way and their desired result occurs. So when things go off script, they wash their hands of it. Let's have a look at that. So when things don't go according to their plan, or they feel criticised or less than perfect, the narcissist places all the blame and responsibility on someone else to maintain their own facade of perfection. It has to be someone else's fault. So do you, when you're in a relationship, do things harsh, popping in to show support? I just cannot sit through anything upsetting today. No, I thoroughly understand where you're coming from, buddy. You know where I am. You can always reach out on email to me. Sometimes that blame is generalized. So everyone's out to get them. Most often, however, narcissist blames the one person who is the most emotionally close, most attached, loyal, and loving in their life. The victims of their narcissistic abuse are the safest people to blame because they are least likely to leave or reject them. Narcissism is easy, arthritis sucks. Tell me about it. Lack of boundaries. Many people lack boundaries or cross other people's boundaries regularly. But among narcissists, this is status quo behavior. Narcissists can't accurately see where they end and you begin. they are a lot like 2-year-olds. So do you ever look at your partner and think, fucking hell, grow up? They believe that everything belongs to them, everyone thinks and feels the same as they do, and everyone wants the same things they do. They are shocked and highly insulted to be told no. If a narcissist wants something from you, they'll go to great lengths to figure out how to get it through persistence, cajoling, demanding, rejecting, or pouting. These are all common narcissist behaviors. And this is where we now get into lack of empathy. So narcissists have very little ability to empathize with others. This lack of empathy is a hallmark sign of narcissism. Narcissists tend to be selfish and self-involved and are usually unable to understand what others are feeling. They expect others to think and feel the same as they do and seldom give any thought to how others feel. They are also rarely apologetic, remorseful, or guilty. Some narcissists also lack an understanding of the nature of feelings. They don't understand how their feelings occur. They think their feelings are caused by someone or something outside of themselves. They don't realize that their feelings are caused by their own biochemistry, thoughts, and interpretations. In a nutshell, narcissists always think you caused their feelings, especially the negative ones. It's very important. And that is something very different to, like, the dark empath, where a dark empath understands completely how emotions work, and they can mimic them while not feeling them. So they could say, a narcissist, you could say something that's quite personal to you and they should be upset about it, but they're not upset about it. Like, you could say that you had a really poor day, or you're upset, or you come home and you're sad, and the narcissist just wouldn't get it. They just don't understand. They don't understand why you're upset, and if it goes against what they think you should be like, then there's a problem. Whereas a dark empath would understand that you're upset, they're not affected by it, they don't care, but they can give you the impression that they do. And that makes them more dangerous. They conclude that because you didn't follow their plan, or because you made them feel vulnerable, you are to blame. This lack of empathy makes true emotional connection and relationships with narcissists difficult or even impossible. Where you're dating one or were raised by a narcissist, they just don't notice what anyone else is feeling. So I suppose we'll just come away from that point for a second. So if you was in a relationship now and you thought, why doesn't he or why doesn't she understand why I'm upset? That is a red flag. That there is straight away a red flag, because you should, if you're ever in a situation where you are sad or your children are sad and your partner doesn't get it, doesn't understand, then you could well be dealing with a narcissist, and that is not going to end well. I'm just going to nip into comments quickly before we continue on this bit, and then we'll switch over to the toxic relationship signs and what to do about it. One word of advice to all: get a plan, get out, run as fast as you can, and do not look back. They will never change. And, that's it. And you can almost turn around and say, look, a narcissist may not be able to change because this is something that they don't understand is wrong. This is a condition that they have. So this isn't like you can make a narcissist better. You can't help them. You can't, and what they're doing is out of their control. They cannot even change it if they wanted to. And this is why there's so many issues, because the person who is being abused, or they're sad, or they're upset, or things aren't going their way, they think this person is going to change when they're not going to change because they don't understand that they're in the wrong. Do you think narcissistic behavior is a missing chromosome, or do you think someone turns into that person? Someone quite rightly said, to an extent, I think we are all kind of narcissists. We all have the ability to have different versions of these traits and to a different, how can I say, some of us really are bad in one thing and not so bad in another. Like some people can be, they do rarely want everything to go their way and they don't understand when it doesn't go their way, but that might be the only narcissistic trait they have. But to have over 55% of these things, that would mean that you are medically diagnosed as a narcissism disorder. So that, whether that is born from generic or social economic issues, then, you know, I think it's very, you could say that somebody could be turned into some version of a narcissist through social economic structure and issues out there. Certainly, you know, look at what we've seen happen over the lockdowns and how the impact that's had on families, and we're still seeing it, the cost of living crisis and the pressure that is putting on families and parents. We know that we're still kind of seeing the tail end of the aftermath of that, if you like. Families have really been hit hard by that. But yeah, I don't think they'll ever really know where certain things come from. She's listening. Thank you very much, Dixie. Hopefully, some people will get this will give them a little bit of an eye opener. You know, this might not help them deal with a specific situation, but it might help them help someone else, or it might bring some clarity to some things that they're unsure about. So the next one is perceiving everything as a threat. So although they're highly attuned to perceived threats, anger and rejection from others, narcissists frequently misread subtle facial expressions and are typically biased towards interpreting facial expressions as negative. Unless you are acting out your emotions dramatically, the narcissist won't accurately perceive what you're feeling. So in other words, if you walked into the room, and like what we just said about, and you're feeling sad, unless you was burst out crying in hysterics, they wouldn't get it. Unless you're acting out right. So even saying I'm sorry or I love you when the narcissist is on edge and angry can backfire. They won't believe you and may even misperceive your comment as an attack. In addition, if your words and expressions aren't congruent, the narcissist will likely respond erroneously or get defensive. So let's have a look. I have a son with mental disability and is a narcissist. It's really hard. I'm sorry to hear about the issues there. I can imagine with a child, like I'll come to this in a second regarding children. That's what we'll finish up on, and I'll do that briefly because I want to do a live specifically about issues with our children because we've gone through some things. So what do we got? So this is why narcissists often misinterpret sarcasm as actual agreement or joking from others as a personal attack. The lack of ability to correctly read body language, a common narcissist trait, is one reason narcissists are deficiently empathetic to your feelings. They don't see them, they don't interpret them correctly, and overall they don't believe you feel any different than they do. 9, emotional reasoning. You've probably made the mistake of trying to reason and use logic with the narcissist to get them to understand the painful effect their behaviours have on you. You think that if they understand how much their behaviour hurt you, they'll change. Your explanations, however, don't make sense to the narcissist, who only seems able to be aware of their own thoughts and feelings. Although narcissists may say they understand, they don't understand that. They do not get it. Therefore, narcissists make most of their decisions based on how they feel about something. They simply must have that red sports car based entirely on how they feel driving it, not by whether it is a good choice to make for the family or for the budget. They are bored. If they are bored or depressed, they want to move or end the relationship or start a new business. They always look for something or someone outside themselves to solve their feelings and needs. They expect you to go along with their solutions, and they react with irritation and resentment if you don't. Splitting. This is an important one. So the narcissist's personality is split into good and bad parts, and they also split everything in their relationships into good and bad. Any negative thoughts or behaviors are blamed on you or others, whereas they take credit for everything that is positive and good. They deny their negative words and actions while continually accusing you of disapproving. They also remember things as completely good and wonderful, or as bad and horrible. They can't seem to mix these two constructs. A few examples of a narcissist splitting behavior in action. Marty labelled the whole vacation ruined and the worst ever because the hotel room didn't meet his expectations and the weather wasn't perfect. Bob was blamed for 20 years because he wasn't there when his wife had their first child, even though he was stranded in Chicago in a snowstorm. Alice's husband dismissed her concerns about the $30,000 cost for the new landscaping because he loved it. Narcissists aren't able to see, feel, or remember both the positive and the negative in a situation. They can only deal with one perspective at a time, theirs. I used to have a cheater. I have no time for cheaters. One of the worst, if not the worst type of person. We're coming to the end of this list. There's 15 pointers I made here, and this is number 11. So the narcissist's entire life is motivated and energized by fear. You wouldn't initially pick this out as a sign of a narcissist, though, because most narcissist fears are deeply buried and repressed. They're constantly afraid of being ridiculed, rejected, or wrong. They may have fears about germs, about losing all their money, about being emotionally or physically attacked, about being seen as bad or inadequate, or about being abandoned. This makes it difficult and sometimes impossible for the narcissist to trust anyone else. In fact, the closer your relationship becomes, the less they will trust you. Narcissists fear any true intimacy or vulnerability because they're afraid you'll see their imperfections and judge or reject them. No amount of reassurance seems to make any difference because narcissists deeply hate and reject their own shameful imperfections. Narcissists never seem to develop trust in the love of others. They continually test you with the worst and worst behaviors to try and find your breaking point. Their gripping fear of being found out or abandoned never seems to dissipate. Thank you very much, Love, Life and True Crime. Anxiety. This is number 12. Anxiety is an ongoing vague feeling that something bad is happening or about to happen. Some narcissists show their anxiety by talking constantly about the doom that is about to happen, while some hide and repress their anxiety. But most narcissists project their anxiety onto their closest loved ones, accusing them of being negative, unsupportive, mentally ill, not putting them first, not responding to their needs, or being selfish. All this is designed to transfer anxiety to the loved one in an attempt to not feel it themselves. As you feel worse and worse, the narcissist feels better and better. In fact, they feel stronger and more superior as you feel your anxiety and depression grow. Deeply repressed shame. Narcissists don't feel much guilt because they think they're always right and they don't believe their behaviors rarely affect anyone else, but they harbor a lot of shame. Shame is the belief that there is something deeply and permanently wrong or bad about who you are. Buried in the deepest repressed part of the narcissist are all the insecurities, fears, and rejected traits that they are constantly on guard to hide from everyone, including themselves. The narcissist is acutely ashamed of all these rejected thoughts and feelings. Keeping their vulnerabilities hidden is essential to the narcissist's pretend self-esteem or false self. Ultimately, however, this makes it impossible for them to feel completely real and transparent. Number 14, we've got 2 more on this list. Because of their inability to understand feelings, their lack of empathy and constant need for self-protection, narcissists can't truly love or connect emotionally with other people. They cannot look at the world from anyone else's perspective. This makes them emotionally needy. When one relationship is no longer satisfying, they often overlap relationships or start a new one as soon as possible. So when we talk about cheaters, remember, I don't know, I'll look down there, the camera's up there. Cheaters. They desperately want someone to feel their pain, to sympathize with them, and to make everything just as they want it to be. It's a form of codependency, except they have little ability to respond to your pain or fear, or even your day-to-day need for care and sympathy. And then we have this last one here, which is an inability to communicate or work as part of a team. Thoughtful, cooperative behaviors require a real understanding of each other's feelings. How will the other person feel? Will this action make both of us happy? How will this affect our relationship? These are questions that narcissists don't have the capacity or the motivation to think about. Don't expect the narcissist to understand your feelings, give in, or give up anything they want for your benefit. It is useless. And they are 15 signs of a narcissist. And if you are with someone or you know someone who has around half of those things, they say 55%, then they are more than likely medically a true narcissist, and you would be wasting your time trying to change anything. Let's dip into chat before we're going to have a quick look at toxic relationship signs. It's a big one. I didn't think that the narcissist one would take this long, but I'm just having a read through the comments. This when we call and left the room. Bullshit, they left the room mumbling something. I just laughed. Useless is a good word. Yes, Harsha's warrior babes. Harsha narcissist would expect at least 20 signs. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Is there a pill for that? I wish they would. When they leave you, they go to the next victim. And that's it. It's basically, they can't help it. That is who they are. So, look, let's do this. Let me get onto this. So, toxic relationships. So, there's 21, well, here are 21 signs of a potentially toxic relationship. And what I want you to do, and be honest, because at the end of this 21, I'm going to ask you to put your number in chat of how many of these things you could tick off. And be honest. So look, number 1, you feel disrespected. Number 2, your needs are not met. Number 3, you both have a hard time communicating. Number 4, you don't feel free to live your life autonomously. Number 5, you give more than you get. Number 6, you don't feel valued. Number 7, you resent your partner. Number 8, one or both of you are passive aggressive. 9, your self-esteem is deteriorating. Number 10, you feel attacked and unsupported. Number 11, your sleeping and eating patterns have changed, like engaged in revenge bedtime procrastination because you don't get enough time to yourself during the day, perhaps. Number 12, you feel depressed or anxious. Number 13, you bring out the bad qualities in one another. Number 14, you feel like you walk on eggshells around your partner. Number 15, your feelings come second to theirs, a sign of a codependent relationship. 16, dope, if you're still here, you feel gaslighted and manipulated. Number 17, you don't feel your best emotionally or mentally around them. Number 18, you feel alone in the relationship when you're together. Number 19, you feel there is a lack of trust and excess jealousy. Number 20, you feel responsible for their happiness. And the last one, you are being abused physically, emotionally, mentally, or sexually. So they are 21 toxic relationship signs. So let's see if anyone's brave enough to put their number out of 21. I will at some point, Lily Bear. You need to post this. I may do an actual community post about it. Some high numbers: 21, 10, 19, 18, 18, 21, every single one, and it's my child. 14, 21, 9, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21. 16 at least in previous marriage, all of them. And the thing is, as well, is when you read through that list, there's some things in there that this is exactly why you have people who won't leave a relationship, because they don't understand that it's toxic. Like it says, like, toxic relationships and abusive relationships can have some overlap, but relationships that involve abuse are no longer just toxic, they are abusive. Control in an abusive relationship: one partner is always in control. A controlling husband, wife, or partner is aware of their actions and chooses abusive behaviors to show dominance and maintain control over the other partner. It can start out as emotional abuse and become physical over time. And if someone can, I think, was it you, Dixie? If you could put that number back in chat, please. The number that you put up earlier, if Dixie is still in here. It was a helpline, I believe. Manipulation. Abusers tend to use mind games such as manipulation and gaslighting to undermine their partner's needs and perspective. In essence, abusive relationships involve the abuser, who is the bully, and the other partner as the victim, and usually these types of relationships do not change. But look, and these are very, very serious impacts of toxic relationships as well. Your friendships can suffer. Obviously, stress, depression, anxiety, PTSD in the worst cases, especially when there's physical violence involved. Sleep changes, weight changes, poor performance at work or at school, lack of communication in relationships, short temper, negative inner monologue where you're attacking yourself and you're asking yourself, what's wrong with you? What have I done wrong? Is it me? Developing trust issues, complacency, pessimistic and negative moods, and low self-worth. And we're going to do this here. So can you fix a toxic relationship? Let's just put it this way. It's not, we can't turn around and say they cannot be fixed, because that would be wrong. Because toxic relationships, when you look at some of these things, you could both be in this and you could both be seeing different elements off of one another. So these are some tips on how to get over it. But if you then try these and this doesn't work, then you have to make the decision to leave. But look, have open and honest conversations. So have open, healthy communication with your partner and how you're feeling and what you will own in the relationship. Having these discussions together and sharing the load also increases cohesion between partners. The timing of these conversations is also important, so pick a time where both partners are rested and in a good headspace and have meaningful and constructive communication. Don't dwell on the past. Focusing on past mistakes will allow you to move forward. Won't allow you to move forward. We can't control the past, and the attention on the past will keep you from being attentive in the present. Take time to really process the past, so you are not stuck dwelling on it as you try to move forward in your relationship. Take responsibility for your part. Take responsibility for your part. This is an important piece. Whiting states that a key factor on whether, and Whiting is a doctor who specializes in relationship studies. A key factor on whether a toxic relationship can change is if the unhealthy person or persons will take full responsibility for their abusive behavior. Denial is a common feature of unhealthy relationships and is actually the main clinical issue in batterer intervention programs. If someone won't admit they have a problem, they will not change. For a relationship that has been damaged by verbal or physical aggression, to turn around, the offender needs to be totally honest, accept full responsibility for the hurt they are causing, and work consistently for a significant time, which is 6 months to a year, to try and make it right. Cheap apologies or promises or won't do it. Talk to a therapist. Talk to a therapist. Therapy is very effective for treating relationship issues and the stress that comes from these issues. Identifying the root cause of an issue or feeling is the first step towards recovery or moving forward from a toxic relationship. Therapy also allows you to learn additional ways to manage relationship issues and expectations. View your partner with compassion. As hard as it can be, our partners are human, and as humans, they make mistakes and have a history of relationships before us. It's important to be mindful of that and sensitive to their struggles. Coming to your partner with compassion is important because it lets you see them as human as a true partner and not as an enemy. Compassion in times of conflict can really help to reset the ways in which we communicate, which can make all the difference. This isn't always going to work, by the way. Hold space for your partner to change. Change takes time. It is important to remember that learning a new habit is just as challenging as unlearning old habits. When we are working on changing things in a relationship, both partners need to do the work. The work, for one, could mean holding the space that for that change to occur for you, to see the change without the space to showcase new ways of relating in the relationship. You won't ever get to see what that change looks like. It takes a lot of patience and self-care to do this, so make sure you are prioritizing take care of yourself too. And this is the important one. And then we shall bring the live to a close. I said that it'd be about an hour. We're bang on the hour with a final thought. For some, the best option for dealing with toxic relationships is to leave the relationship. When your own health and wellness is being impacted, the relationship is doing more harm than good for you. When there is any kind of abuse, it's important to recognize your worth, protect yourself, and if there are children involved, protect your children and get help right away. Seek out the support of a therapist and come up with an exit plan so you can leave safely. This can be hard to do and a hard decision to come to. But if you have tried couples therapy and feel that you have exhibited patience and made change and you are still not satisfied, it may be time to end the relationship. Some people are inherently incompatible and it can take time to really come to terms with this. Working with a therapist to sort through this and find out how to end a relationship can be really helpful. If you're dealing with issues stemming from toxic relationships, talking to a therapist can make a big difference to how you feel. And there are resources online such as BetterHelp, onlinetherapy.com, and Ritual. These are all online resources. There is mindfulness.com, ourrelationship.com, and a relationship newsletter. But there we have it in a nutshell. It's difficult. Obviously, there's so much stuff that we can cover with these lives. There's so many things that we can go on, and like I say, I do want to do one specifically focusing on our children and dealing with the various things that we have to as parents and step parents. So look, we will do more of these. I may switch it up so we do 2 a month. I might do a poll and just see. But for now, I hope that somebody, even if one person, got something out of what we spoke about tonight. It may have made them see something or someone in a different light or understand something a little better. But this is what we do. Outlining narcissistic and toxic relationships and how I cope that are excellent. Like Fantastic Ether said, there are a lot of YouTube resources to look at videos and things like that. We have an excellent community here as well. The guys over in Discord, the Discord server. If you haven't joined that, join it. That's ran by Dope for me. We've got Dixie in there, Jennifer in there. There's some fantastic people in there. And I'm hoping to now be able to start getting in there some more now. Our building works has finally, as of tomorrow, over. But there we go. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, what is left of it. For me, there's 15 minutes of it, and then it's Monday. But the schools are now off for 2 weeks. It's the Easter break in the UK, so it's the school half term. So, I will just pin this for Superior Dreams. I would like to thank you all for being here. Kept you for a little over an hour, but thank you very much to every single one of you. You are all fantastic. Remember that you are not going through anything alone. There are people out there. Reach out. You can send me an email. I speak to numerous supporters of the channel, and we discuss different things. And you know, if you've got any questions whatsoever on anything, if I can help at all, I will. But for now, that is it. That's me done. Enjoy the rest of the day. Y'all are my babies.